Calais stood in front of the bedroom mirror, brushing her fingers through her soft, honey-blonde hair. Her pale blue eyes, usually vibrant and bright, were now tired, distant. The soft silk of her champagne-colored dress hugged every curve of her body. The fitted waist accentuating her hourglass figure, the fabric gliding over her hips, flowing down just above her knees. Beneath it, delicate cream lace lingerie clung to her skin, a matching set she hadn't worn in months, hidden deep in the drawers until tonight. She hadn't planned to wear it, but after the argument with Evan, something inside her broke loose. "You never listen to me anymore," she had told him earlier that evening. "You come home late, say nothing, sleep and leave. What am I to you now? A housemate?" Evan, tall and classically handsome, had barely looked up from his phone. "Not now, Kaylee. I've had a long day." That was always his excuse. Long day, tired, meetings. And maybe it was all true, but it didn't stop the growing ache in her chest. An ache that turned into something else tonight. Something that whispered, "Remember who you are." Callie grabbed her heels from the closet. Her legs, smooth and toned, slid easily into the nude stilettos. She checked herself one last time. Third cup-sized breasts, gently framed by the low neckline of the dress. Her posture perfect. Her soft curves aligned like a question mark. One she was ready to ask the night itself. Her phone buzzed. "Savannah. Drinks tonight? I need your energy, and you need a reset." Savannah was chaos wrapped in lip gloss. Tall, raven-haired, sharp-boned beauty with legs that seemed to never end. Where Calais was elegance, Savannah was wildfire. The club pulsed with the deep bass. Lights painted the air in shades of violet and gold. Kaylee stood just inside the door, watching bodies move like waves under a midnight tide. She hadn't been here in years. Savannah handed her a glowing cocktail. "You look like Sin, girl." Kaylee took a sip, then another. The alcohol warmed her chest. "Do I really?" Savannah smirked. "Trust me, you're the best thing in this room." And then she saw him, across the dance floor, leaning casually against the bar, was a man who didn't belong in a place like this. Or maybe he belonged more than anyone else. His dark curls were just long enough to be messy in a deliberate way. His skin was sun-kissed, his lips full. He wore a dark tailored shirt open just enough to expose a glimpse of chest. His eyes, deep brown, locked with hers, and he smiled. She looked away, then looked back. He was walking toward her. "Bonsoir," he said, voice smooth with a French accent. "You looked like you needed saving." Kaylee blinked. From what? From the kind of night that forgets itself. His smile was warm but not presumptuous. He held out a hand. "I am Luca." "Luca, Calais," she said, her fingers sliding into his. They danced, their bodies pressed close. Her hips found the rhythm of his. His hands rested at the small of her back, pulling her closer, heat rising where their bodies touched. As the music throbbed, Kelly's breath caught when his lips brushed her ear. His voice was velvet. "You're breathtaking." Their eyes met. A pause. A spark. Then he leaned in, and their lips met, not in hunger, but in slow, deliberate curiosity. The kiss tasted of danger. They sat in a quiet booth away from the floor now. The club moved around them, distant and slow. "Why are you here tonight?" Luca asked. "I needed to remember something," she said. "That I'm not invisible." He reached for her hand. "You're the opposite of invisible." Kali laughed softly, surprised at herself. "You're charming." "No, just honest." His fingertips skimmed her wrist, sent shivers up her arm. She didn't pull away. Time blurred. The club melted into the background. Somewhere between their second drink and their fifth whisper, Kaylee leaned into his shoulder. He smelled of cedarwood and something she couldn't name. "I should go," she said, her voice too light to believe. "You could stay," he replied. "Just the sunrise. No promises." Back in the privacy of his hotel suite, the room bathed in amber city light, he closed the door behind her. She stood by the window, looking out, heart pounding. Luca came behind her, his arms wrapping around her waist. His hands moved slowly, reverently, sliding over her curves. She turned to face him, breath shallow. His lips brushed hers, then moved to her neck. Her hands found the buttons of his shirt, undoing them one by one. He traced the strap of her dress, letting it fall. Her lingerie was exposed, lace against pale skin. His eyes lingered, admiration and restraint colliding. He kissed along her collarbone, his hands settling at her hips. Kaylee closed her eyes and let herself fall. The sky outside had shifted to navy. The first threads of dawn wove through the clouds. She lay beneath soft sheets, her body warm and sore in the most delicious way. Luca slept beside her, a calm presence. She watched him for a moment, then slipped quietly from the bed. In the bathroom, she looked at herself in the mirror. The same face, the same woman. But something in her eyes had changed. Not regret, not guilt. Something else. She pulled the shirt from his suitcase and slipped it on. It hung loose around her thighs, smelling of him. Outside, the city stirred awake. Birds called. Cars passed. She would go home soon. But for now, she let herself exist in the moment between night and morning. Just after midnight, just before everything changed. Sunlight spilled through the tall hotel windows, drawing golden lines across the rumpled bed. Kaylee blinked awake, feeling the softness of the sheets and the faint, musky trace of Luca's cologne in the air. She rolled onto her back, letting her arms stretch out across the empty side of the bed. Luca was gone. For a moment, she lay still, absorbing the quiet. The city outside was fully awake now. Car horns, distant voices, the rhythm of another day. It all felt impossibly far away. She sat up, noticing how the silky hotel shirt slipped down one shoulder. It felt scandalous and liberating at once. On the nightstand, her phone buzzed with unread messages. She reached for it, half expecting a message from Evan, but there was nothing. Instead, She saw a single new text from an unknown number. "You have no idea what you started last night." Kaylee stared at the screen, a flicker of unease tracing her spine. The message was playful, mysterious, but she could not help feeling it was also a warning. She collected her dress from the floor, smoothing the fabric over her curves, then found her lace underwear, a delicate bra and matching panties. A little wrinkled now, but still lovely. She glanced in the bathroom mirror as she washed her face. Her cheeks were flushed, her lips a little swollen. Her hair tumbled in loose golden waves down her shoulders. She looked alive, different. When she stepped out of the hotel, the air was brisk, and the streets glimmered with morning dew. She clutched her purse to her side, trying to steady her nerves as she walked. Everything from last night seemed unreal. Luca's soft accent, his strong arms, the way he had looked at her as if she were the only person in the world. She flagged down a cab and rode home in silence, her mind whirling. The cabbie, an older man with a gentle face, glanced at her in the mirror, but said nothing. She wondered if he saw the difference in her. At home, the front door creaked open to a silent house. She slipped inside and found Evan in the kitchen making coffee. He did not turn as she entered. "Morning," he said flatly. "Morning," she replied, voice small. He handed her a mug. His eyes flickered over her, pausing on the marks at her neck, her rumpled dress. Kaylee held her breath, waiting for questions, for accusations. But he simply turned away and sipped his coffee. She felt a tremor in her hands as she sat at the kitchen island. "Did you sleep?" she asked. He shrugged. "A little. You?" "I was out with Savannah." Evan only nodded. He did not probe further. The distance between them seemed wider than ever, but she could sense he was holding something back. His jaw clenched, his shoulders tense. She fled to the shower, letting hot water wash over her skin, trying to erase the traces of the night. But memories clung to her. Luca's breath on her shoulder, the soft press of his lips against her skin, the heat that had rushed through her veins. She remembered the sensation of his hands sliding up her thighs, his fingers tracing the lace edges of her underwear. She remembered the way he had looked at her, with hunger and awe, as he slowly unfastened her bra. His lips had wandered over her bare skin, kissing the curve of her breast, moving lower. She had gasped, her body arching to meet him, as he worshipped every inch of her with patient, adoring touch. In the dim light, she had felt beautiful, desired. She had given herself to the moment, lost in his foreign words and tender movements. After her shower, Kelly dressed in soft jeans and a loose sweater, tying her damp hair into a messy bun. She stared at herself in the mirror, searching for shame. There was guilt, yes, but under it, something fierce. A new confidence, a defiance. Later that morning, Savannah called. Her friend's voice was rushed, breathless. "Did you get home all right?" "I did. Thank you for last night. I needed it." There was a pause on the line. "Are you okay?" "I think so. I..." She hesitated, her voice faltering. "I did something I probably shouldn't have. Savannah sighed. Kaylee, I saw you with him. The French guy, right? Yes, Luca. Another silence. Listen, I... I've seen him at the club before. He's not a regular, but he's there sometimes. With different women. The words stung, though Kaylee was not sure why. You think he just picks up women? I don't know. Just be careful, okay? Kaylee frowned. Is there something you're not telling me? Savannah's voice dropped. Just promise me you'll watch your back. The call ended abruptly, leaving Kaylee more unsettled than before. She stepped out to the mailbox, hoping the fresh air would clear her head. On the path she saw her neighbor, Mary, a cheerful woman in her 40s, walking her dog. Mary smiled, a glint of mischief in her eyes. Rough night, sweetheart. Kaylee flushed. Something like that? Mary winked, tugging the leash. If I were 10 years younger, I'd be out there too. Life's too short. Kaylee managed a smile and retreated indoors. She noticed another envelope among the mail. No name, only her address, neatly written. Inside, a single sheet of paper. It's not always what it seems. No signature. Her pulse quickened. Later that afternoon at work, Kaylee tried to focus, but her mind drifted. Her colleague Lisa stopped by her desk. Lisa was petite, with caramel skin and bright green eyes, always dressed in sharp suits. Lisa leaned in. You seem distracted today. Just tired. Lisa grinned. Saw you leave with Savannah last night. I wish I had your courage. Kaylee smiled. I just needed a change. Lisa hesitated, then lowered her voice. Listen. Be careful. Office rumor mill says Evan's been asking questions about you. Weird questions. Like he's suspicious of something. A chill ran through Kaylee. Thanks for telling me. Lisa nodded and moved on. All day, the feeling of being watched clung to Kaylee like a second skin. She kept thinking of the message from Luca, the warning in Savannah's voice, the mysterious note. When she returned home that evening, Evan was in his study, door closed. She pressed her ear to the wood, hearing only silence inside. On the hall table, his briefcase lay open. She glimpsed papers, a manila folder, a business card for a private detective. Kelly's heart hammered in her chest. She hurried to her room, closed the door, and tried to breathe. Memories from the night returned, vivid and intrusive. She recalled how Lucas' hands had explored her body with reverence, how his lips had traveled the length of her spine, how he whispered words she did not fully understand, but felt deep in her bones. The pleasure had been sharp, dizzying, her body aching for him long after they collapsed together, tangled in the sheets. Now, in the quiet house, she felt watched, hunted. The lines between pleasure and danger began to blur. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Be careful who you trust. She dropped the phone, her breath catching. Night fell, heavy and uncertain. Kaylee stood at her bedroom window, watching headlights sweep the street outside. She thought of Lucas' hands, Savannah's warnings, Evan's cold eyes. Somewhere out there, was a secret she was not meant to find. But she could feel it, thrumming beneath the surface of her new, awakened skin. This was not the end. It was only the beginning. The house was quiet, too quiet, as Kaylee wandered from room to room in the days that followed. The air felt thick with secrets. Evan had become even more distant, often locked away in his study until late, emerging only to sleep on the far edge of the bed. Kaylee noticed the way his eyes followed her, cold and assessing, as if weighing her every word, every gesture. Every time her phone buzzed, her heart skipped. Sometimes it was Savannah, sometimes Lisa, but never Luca. She reread his one cryptic message again and again, searching for meaning. She was no closer to an answer. One evening, as twilight stretched shadows across the hallway, Kelly noticed Evan's study door slightly ajar. She paused, listening for movement, but heard nothing. Curiosity and dread waged war inside her. She crept forward, her bare feet silent on the hardwood floor. Inside, the room smelled faintly of aftershave and old books. Evan's desk was a landscape of neat stacks and scattered papers. On top of one folder, she spotted a photograph, a blurry, grainy image taken through a club window. It was her, unmistakable in her silk dress, dancing with Luca, his hand on her waist, her smile unguarded. She stared, her stomach turning. Why did Evan have this? Beneath the photo, more papers, receipts from the club, screenshots of text messages, copies of emails she had sent to Savannah, even old photos of her and Lisa from office events. There was a business card tucked into the folder's edge. Marlowe and Associates. Discreet investigations. Kaylee felt a wave of nausea. She was being watched. Every move, every step, every laugh documented. Her fingers trembled as she flipped to the next photograph. It showed Luca. Only now his face was clear. Staring straight at the camera, a faint smile playing at his lips. There was a note in Evan's tidy handwriting. Luca Moreau, a.k.a. Jules Lefebvre. See file. Kaylee's mind spun. She whispered the name. Jules Lefebvre. She dug deeper into the folder, finding a printout of what looked like a criminal database entry. Words leapt off the page. Multiple aliases. Previous connections to infidelity investigations. Suspected of orchestrating honey trap schemes targeting wealthy or influential spouses. Not currently wanted, but flagged for watch. A chill ran through her veins. Had Luca targeted her? Was their night together a setup? She stumbled from the study, the folder pressed to her chest, and collapsed onto her bed. Her hands shook as she dialed Savannah. Savannah answered on the second ring, her voice low. Calais. I found something. Evan's been spying on me. There are pictures of me, of Luca. And Luca's not even his real name? Silence. Then a shaky breath. I wanted to tell you. I tried, but I couldn't. Evan asked me to keep an eye on you. He said he was worried. He paid someone to follow you, Calais. And Luca, he's done this before. The words were like cold water. Why didn't you warn me? I thought you needed to feel alive again. I didn't know it would go this far. I didn't know he would. Kelly's anger flared. What do you mean, go this far? Savannah hesitated. Evan wanted proof, Callie. For a divorce. He wanted to catch you cheating so he could keep everything. The house, the money. He said you were losing yourself, and he wanted out. Kaylee's throat tightened. She felt exposed, betrayed. So you just let him set me up? Savannah's voice was barely a whisper. I'm sorry. Kaylee ended the call, her mind a storm. She stood and paced the room, trying to make sense of it all. She remembered Luca's soft eyes, his careful touch. Could it all have been a lie? She needed answers. That night, as the house slept, Kaylee slipped outside. The air was cool against her bare arms. The world washed in silver moonlight. She walked the empty streets, letting the rhythm of her footsteps steady her thoughts. She dialed Luca's number, the one he'd used to text her. It went straight to voicemail, the automated greeting chillingly impersonal. She tried again and again, each call ending the same. Her mind reeled back to that night, searching for signs, clues. She remembered how Luca had undressed her slowly, reverently, his hands exploring her body, as if memorizing every curve. The way he had kissed her, soft at first, then deeper, his lips caressing her breasts, his tongue tracing circles that left her breathless. She remembered the heat building between them, how he whispered in French, promising nothing but pleasure. As his hands slid beneath her lace panties, she gasped, her body arching to meet him, surrendering completely to the moment. Every touch, every kiss had felt so real, but now she questioned everything. Was it passion or performance? A car passed, headlights briefly illuminating her. She turned away, hugging herself. Back at home, Kaylee found Evan awake, waiting in the living room. He looked up, his eyes red-rimmed but sharp. Where have you been? He asked. Out. He studied her, his jaw tight. You know, I did not want it to be this way. She said nothing, sinking onto the far end of the couch. Evan continued. You forced my hand, you shut me out. What was I supposed to do? Kaylee's laugh was hollow. Talk to me, love me, not hire a private investigator and set me up with a stranger. He shook his head, regret flashing in his eyes. It was supposed to be simple. I needed proof. You were drifting away, Callie. I wanted control back. She stood, anger surging. You never lost control, Evan. You lost me. He said nothing as she walked away, leaving him alone with his remorse. The next morning, Kaylee received a message from Savannah. I'm so sorry. Please meet me at the park. There's something you need to know. Kaylee hesitated but agreed. She dressed in fitted black jeans and a soft, off-the-shoulder sweater, her hair pulled into a low ponytail. She felt both exposed and armored, or was it a prank? Eric touched her arm gently. Let's not get involved. But it was too late. A member of the staff hurried over. You were on the rooftop, weren't you? Did you see anything? Maya shook her head. No, I never wanted to hurt you. Evan pressured me. He knew I'd seen you and Luca talking before. He paid me to tell him everything. Kelly's voice was hard. What else? Savannah looked away, shame on her face. I knew Luca wasn't just some guy. I found out his real name, Jules Lefebvre. He's been involved in these setups before. He gets paid to seduce women, to create evidence. Kelly's knees weakened. Did he know Evan hired him? Savannah shook her head. I don't think so. Marlowe, the detective, reached out to Luca directly, offered him money to approach you. But after your night together, Luca refused the rest of the payment. He told Marlowe he was done with it. Kaylee's breath caught. Why? Savannah shrugged. I think he actually cared about you. He left town the next day. No one's seen him since. Calais felt the shock settle into her bones. Used as a pawn, then abandoned by the only person who had made her feel alive in months. I'm so sorry, Savannah whispered. I tried to stop it. Kaylee looked at her former friend, her eyes suddenly clear. I'm done letting people control my story. She walked away, the world spinning around her. The truth was out, but the pain was just beginning. And somewhere in the back of her mind, she wondered if she would ever see Luca again, or if he had been a beautiful lie all along. For days, Kaylee drifted through her routines like a ghost, haunted by half answers and unfinished conversations. Evan barely spoke to her, moving through the house as if she were invisible. Savannah tried to reach her, but Kaylee ignored her messages. She needed time to understand how she had become the central piece in a game where everyone else knew the rules. One night, unable to sleep, she found herself in the living room, staring at the moonlit window. Her mind raced with unanswered questions. Had Luca ever truly cared? Had he known she was being watched? Was it all part of some elaborate plan, or something more complicated? A sudden memory flashed in her mind. Luca, standing by the hotel window, gazing into the city night, his profile caught in shadow. He had said something then, barely more than a whisper. She strained to remember. Sometimes the only way to see the truth is through the eyes of another. The phrase lingered in her thoughts, and she realized that for all her pain, she knew little about Luca's true story. Driven by a need for answers, she began to search for him, piecing together clues with a determination that surprised her. She started at the club where they'd met. The music throbbed just as it had that night, but everything else felt different, sharper, colder. The bartender, a red-headed woman with a star tattoo on her wrist, looked up as Kaylee approached. I'm looking for someone, Kaylee said, sliding a picture of Luca across the bar. The bartender glanced at it, then at Calais. He hasn't been in since that night. Quiet guy, but polite. Paid in cash. Left a big tip. Do you know his real name? The bartender shook her head. He went by Luca. Talked like he was from Paris, but who knows? Guys like him, they're always running from something. Kaylee pressed. Did he ever mention anyone else? Anyone looking for him? The bartender hesitated. There was a man here, maybe 2 nights after you left. tall, grey suit, looked official, asked about Luca, didn't leave a name, left this for him. She slid a small sealed envelope toward Kaylee. Kaylee's pulse raced. The envelope was unmarked, but in it was a single slip of paper, handwritten in neat, looping script. You cannot hide from yourself forever. J. Her hands shook as she folded the note, realizing that J could stand for Jules, or perhaps someone else entirely. Another layer of the puzzle. As she stepped outside, the air heavy with the promise of rain, her phone vibrated, a message from an unknown number. You are looking in the wrong places, Kaylee. The answers are closer than you think. L. She stared at the message, chills running through her. Luca, or whoever he was watching her, or at least knew what she was doing. But was it a threat or a warning? That night, as she lay in bed, Kaylee could not sleep. She replayed every detail of her brief, passionate time with Luca. The way his hands lingered on her skin, his gentle smile, the sadness in his eyes. There had always been a distance in him, as if he were afraid to let her get too close. She remembered how after their first heated encounter, he had held her in the dim light, tracing his fingers down her spine. His voice was soft in her ear as he whispered words she could not translate. But the longing in his tone was unmistakable. Their bodies had fit together perfectly, skin on skin, hearts beating in time. Yet even in those moments of intimacy, she sensed a part of him holding back, protecting some secret he could not share. The next morning, Kaylee decided to visit Marlowe and Associates, the detective agency Evan had hired. She needed to hear the story from someone outside her circle of friends and betrayals. The office was tucked into an old brick building, glass door marked only with a gold-lettered M. Inside, a slim man with graying hair and sharp blue eyes greeted her. I'm looking for Jules Lefebvre, she said quietly. The man, Detective Marlowe himself, she presumed, nodded. I figured you might come. Have a seat, Miss Madison. She sat, heart pounding. I know what your husband hired us for. And yes, we found Luca, Jules. He's a complicated man. Not a criminal, not exactly. He did take assignments in the past, but only those he chose. Your case was different. How so? Marlowe folded his hands. We approached him, yes. He took the initial job, met you at the club. But after your night together, he came back and paid us to end the assignment. Said he was out. Refused any further contact with your husband. Left us this. He slid another envelope across the table. Inside was a short note, written in French. Marlowe offered a translation. I will not be your weapon. Let her find her own answers. Kaylee read the words over and over, tears pricking her eyes. So where is he now? Marlowe shrugged. He disappeared. He does that. People like him. Shadows are their home. Why did he really come back to me? She asked, almost to herself. Marlowe smiled faintly. Sometimes people come into our lives to break us open, to show us who we really are. As she left the office, Kaylee's thoughts swirled with confusion and longing. She could not decide if Luca was a villain or a savior, or simply a man running from his own pain. Outside, rain finally fell, soft and persistent. Kaylee wandered the streets, lost in memories. She remembered Savannah's confession, Evan's remorse, and now Marlowe's cryptic answers. At home, she found another letter tucked into her mailbox. This one bore no name, but the handwriting was familiar. I wanted to be your choice, not your mistake. If you need me, look for me where you found yourself. No signature, but she knew it was from Luca. That night, unable to sleep, Kaylee returned to the club. The music pulsed, the lights shimmered, but she stood in the shadows, searching every face. She did not find Luca. Instead, she found herself, standing tall, unafraid, her confidence renewed by mystery. She danced, closing her eyes, letting the rhythm move her. For a fleeting moment, she imagined Luca behind her, his hands guiding her hips, his lips brushing her ear, his presence both comfort and fire. The memory was vivid, intoxicating. Her body remembered every detail. His touch, his whisper, his gentle command. Even alone on the dance floor, she felt desired, alive, mysterious. As the night waned, Calais stepped outside. The city was quiet, the world holding its breath. She realized then that some mysteries were meant to remain unsolved, and some choices could not be made for her. The game of mirrors had shown her many faces, Evan's, Savannah's, even her own. But it was Luca's face she saw most clearly now, not as a shadow, but as a question she might spend her life answering. She turned toward the dawn, ready for whatever secrets tomorrow might bring. The morning light crept across Kaylee's bedroom ceiling, pulling her gently from sleep. For the first time in weeks, she felt rested, a fragile peace settling inside her. The mysteries, the heartbreak, the lies, all of it had become a strange kind of armor. She was stronger now, but she was also ready to confront the truth, no matter how sharp its edges. Evan was already awake, sitting at the kitchen table with a mug of coffee and a pile of legal documents. He wore the same tailored shirt and cold expression he had donned since that night. The house felt heavy, every silence filled with all the words they had never said. Callie entered, shoulders straight, hair neatly pulled back. She wore a crisp white blouse, fitted perfectly to her figure, and slim black trousers that accentuated her curves. Even in the midst of conflict, she refused to be small. Evan looked up, eyes lingering on her, perhaps searching for regret. He found only resolve. "Sit down," he said quietly. She did, folding her hands on the table. "We need to talk." He nodded. "Yes, we do." A long silence passed between them, both weighing their next words. Finally, Kaylee spoke. "I know everything, Evan. About the private investigator. About Savannah, about Luca or Jules Lefebvre. You orchestrated all of it just to trap me." His face twitched, but he did not look away. "You were slipping away from me. I was desperate." Kaylee's eyes shone with tears she would not let fall. "So you decided to destroy me instead of trying to save us." Evan's voice hardened. I was trying to protect myself. You never talked to me. You just drifted. Farther every day. I thought if I could prove you cheated, I could... I don't know. Move on, maybe, or win. She laughed, a bitter sound. Win what, Evan? This isn't a game. I was lonely, and you made me feel invisible. He set his mug down, hands trembling slightly. You were never invisible, Callie. I just stopped seeing you. The confession hung in the air between them. For a moment she almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Footsteps echoed in the hall. Savannah appeared in the doorway. Her dark hair pulled into a sleek ponytail, dressed in a simple navy dress that hugged her slender frame. Her eyes darted nervously between Kaylee and Evan. I'm sorry for everything, Savannah said, her voice small. I should never have agreed to help him. I should have told you the truth from the beginning. Callie nodded. We all made choices, some worse than others. Savannah's lips quivered. Are you going to hate me forever? Kaylee shook her head. No, but I think we both need some distance. Evan cleared his throat. So what happens now? Kaylee met his gaze, unwavering. I'm leaving. I won't be a part of your manipulations anymore. You can have the house, the money. I want my life back. He was silent, shoulders sagging. I never meant for it to end like this. Kaylee stood, smoothing her blouse. That's the thing about choices, Evan. You never know where they'll take you. She packed her things in silence, moving through the house she had once called home. Each room held memories, some sweet, some bitter. As she zipped her suitcase, she found herself thinking not of Evan or Savannah, but of Luca. A soft knock at the door startled her. She opened it to find Lisa, her colleague from work, standing on the porch with a concerned look. Are you okay? Lisa asked. Kaylee managed a smile. I think I will be. I'm leaving. Lisa hugged her, quick and tight. If you need a place to stay, anything, I'm here. Thank you, Kaylee said softly, touched by the simple kindness. As she stepped outside with her suitcase, she noticed a sleek black car idling at the curb. Her heart raced, part fear, part hope. The driver's window rolled down, and for a breathless second, Kaylee saw Luca's familiar, striking profile. His dark curls were a little longer, his jaw set with a determination she recognized instantly. She walked over, pulse thundering. You came back. He nodded, stepping out of the car. He wore a fitted charcoal suit over a simple black shirt, every line of his body radiating tension and longing. I told myself I would stay away, he said quietly. But I could not when I knew what you were going through. Kaylee studied him, this man of secrets, of second chances. Why now? He looked down, searching for the right words. Because I finally realized I was not just running from my past. I was running from the chance to be honest, to be more than a shadow. Kaylee swallowed, her heart a wild bird in her chest. Did you ever care about me? Or was it all just a game? Luca's eyes met hers, soft and unguarded. At first, maybe it was a game. But then I saw you, the real you. I wanted to protect you, not hurt you. That's why I left. She stepped closer, the air electric between them. I don't know if I can trust you. He nodded. I will not ask you to. I can only show you. A long moment passed, the world shrinking down to just the two of them on the quiet street. He reached out, his hand trembling, and brushed a stray strand of hair from her face. His fingers lingered on her cheek, and she closed her eyes, letting herself feel his touch. Gentle, careful, real. He leaned in, his lips brushing hers, slow and searching. There was no rush, no hunger, only the tender promise of something new. Kelly melted into the kiss, feeling the last walls between them dissolve. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe in the possibility of trust, of forgiveness, of starting over. They parted, breathless, both blinking back tears. I don't know where this will lead, Kelly whispered, voice steady. But I'm tired of being afraid. Luca smiled, a real vulnerable smile. Then let's find out together. She laughed, soft and free, the sound echoing in the morning air. Behind her, the door opened. Evan stood in the doorway, watching them. His face was pale, resigned. I'm sorry, Callie, he said, for everything. She nodded, feeling both relief and closure. So am I. I hope you find what you're looking for. For a brief moment, the three of them stood in a silent triangle, each changed by betrayal, desire, and the need for truth. Savannah appeared behind Evan, eyes red but hopeful. Good luck, Kaylee, truly. Kaylee gave her a final nod, then turned to Luca. They climbed into the car together, not looking back. As the city unfurled before them, Kelly felt something inside her shift. The pain was still there, but so was hope, a spark she thought she had lost forever. She glanced at Luca, who reached over and took her hand. For the first time in a long time, she felt whole. Not because of anyone else, but because she had chosen her own path. She smiled, sunlight streaming through the window, her heart open to whatever lay ahead.